is Good Morning Indiana, working for you.
It's 5 o'clock here on your Friday. Good morning to you. I'm Nicole Griffin. Here's what's making headlines on this April 10th.
She's described as a dedicated officer who showed compassion for the community. She is the example of the type of officer we want on this department.
The community honoring the bravery and sacrifice of fallen IMPD officer Breanne Leith. This morning, we are learning more about her life and legacy. The state says it is prepared to take action against Hoosiers who intentionally spread COVID-19 to others. What the prosecutor's office says it will do to hold them accountable. And like most local businesses, Williams Comfort Air and Mr. Plumber are changing the way they operate during the coronavirus outbreak, how they are transforming their work to give back to the community. But first, we need to get a check of your Storm Team 6 forecast. Meteorologist Todd Clausen standing by. Todd, you need that coat when you're heading outside this morning.
Yeah, you need the heavier coat too, Nicole. We've kind of tucked that back off into the closet, and we've been just dealing with some light jackets here and there. But it is cold this morning. Take a look at this temperature, and this is not a typo, unfortunately. We're sitting at 32 degrees right now at the airport in Indianapolis, and all across central Indiana, the temperatures, they are chilly. 35 in Muncie, 34 is the current temperature in Bloomington. So the cold spot actually this morning is in the Indianapolis area. That's why a freeze warning is in place for all those counties you see in purple. It's virtually almost the entire area with the exception of to the north where they're not technically in the growing season yet, and that's why the freeze warning is not in place there. Skies are clear. That's one of the reasons why we're so cold this morning with this new air mass that is in place across the area. And then as we work our way in to the rest of the day today, we do warm up quickly. That is the good news with plenty of sunshine. We'll jump from about 33 degrees at 8 a.m. to 43 degrees by the time we get to the noon hour, and then eventually high temperatures will be topping off right around 50 degrees in the afternoon. So just be a little bit patient. It turns into a decent day with just some breezy conditions, but if you're heading out right now or within the next couple hours before the sun comes up, Nicole, definitely going to need to bundle up.
All right, Todd, thank you so much. We are taking a live look outside, keeping an eye on traffic for those of you who do have to head into work this morning. This is I-74 near Thompson Road. You can see just a few cars out on the road, but nothing to slow you down as you head out the door.
Tonight, we mourn the loss of a true hero whose name will forever remind us of the honor, the courage, and the strength of our police officers in the face of such senseless violence.
The city of Indianapolis honoring IMPD officer Breanne Leith, who gave the ultimate sacrifice to protect her community. Police say Officer Leith was shot while responding to a domestic incident on the east side. She was called to an apartment on Edinburgh Square near 21st and Franklin around 2:45 yesterday afternoon. Investigators say shots were fired and Officer Leith and a woman inside of the apartment were shot. 24-year-old Leith later died. The woman was taken to the hospital and is in stable condition. Police say a suspect is now in custody. Officer Breanne Leith was a mother, a daughter, a friend, and described as the kind of police officer you want on the force. Our Alyssa Donovan is live this morning with more about who the woman was behind the badge. Alyssa.
Good morning, Nicole. One of the first things that Chief Randall Taylor said about Officer Breanne Leith is that she always dreamed of being a police officer. Officer Leith had deep roots in the law enforcement community. Her mother is a 911 dispatcher. Her father, a sheriff's deputy with the Marion County Sheriff's Department. Now, we do know that Officer Leith was 24 years old when she died yesterday. She died serving Indianapolis, and she was on the force for 2.5 years. Officer Leith grew up in this community. She graduated from Southport High School in Perry Township. She leaves behind a young son. Chief Taylor says she was a strong and well-respected officer who was compassionate and wanted to serve the people of Indianapolis.
She's described as a dedicated officer who showed compassion for the community. She is the example of the type of officer we want on this department.
Laith was one of 3 officers responding to a domestic incident Thursday afternoon when she was shot. Police say the shooting occurred before the officers made contact with the people inside of the apartment. They do have a suspect in custody. Mayor Joe Hogsett also spoke during that press conference yesterday, saying that as the city lit Indianapolis blue for those first responders responding to the COVID-19 pandemic, that they also think of Laith, who was also a first responder who served this community. Reporting live, Alyssa Donovan, RTV6.
Alyssa, thank you. Officer Leith is the second female Indianapolis police officer killed in the line of duty. The first was Officer Teresa Hawkins. In August of 1993, she was hit and killed by a drunk driver at East 36th Street and Emerson Avenue. She was also responding to a domestic disturbance. Officer Hawkins was 28 years old and had served with the police department for 5 years. We are continuing to follow the very latest on the COVID-19 outbreak. The Indiana State Department of Health now reporting 42 more Hoosiers have died from the virus. A total of 245 deaths have been confirmed in the state. More than 6,000 people have tested positive for COVID-19. 2,415 of those cases are in Marion County. Marion County Prosecutor Ryan Mears says he will aggressively prosecute anyone who tests positive for COVID-19 and takes steps to infect others. At this point, the prosecutor's office is not aware of any incidents happening in Marion County. However, Mears says numerous criminal charges could apply if someone knows they have the virus and coughs or sneezes on other people.
There's also an argument that it's battery. Because, I mean, you are touching another person with, if you're sneezing, if you're coughing, with the intent to hurt that person. And so we would definitely push the limits of the law in order to make sure that we could keep people safe and hold people accountable.
The prosecutor's office has already started charging people who violate the stay-at-home order. Most charges across the state are connected with other crimes like drunk driving. As COVID-19 continues to spread across the country, for some people, just going to the grocery store is too risky for their health. This morning, our Kelsey Anderson shows us how a local company is hoping to help those in need.
Well, the folks at Williams Comfort Air and Mr. Plumber say it's time for them to stop just being technicians, and it's time for them to get out in the community and help in the best way they can. HVAC and plumbing is considered essential, but the company is taking preventative measures a step further, and they aren't doing any non-essential calls like preventative maintenance and tune-ups. But they still want their employees to maintain a full work week. So now they will do free grocery deliveries for doctors, nurses, first responders, and anyone who is considered high risk in their service area.
This is a win-win. It allows our team to maintain their hours, but also allows them to get a little different feel. We're here for whoever needs us.
All you have to do is place an online grocery order for pickup anytime between 8 and 5, Monday through Friday. The only information they need is your address, the confirmation number, and the store location. You can call and schedule a delivery on the same day or even a week in advance. All they need to know is when and where they need to be so they can help you. Working for you, Kelsey Anderson, RTV6.
Kelsey, thank you. Donations are one way people across central Indiana are working together during the pandemic. But unlike money, food, and blood, you might not realize there's a need for breast milk donations. The Milk Bank in Indianapolis provides pasteurized donor human milk. Right now, the Milk Bank is struggling to get enough donated breast milk to serve their healthcare partners. The Milk Bank's highest priorities are premature and ill infants in the hospital's neonatal intensive care units. We spoke with the Milk Bank, and the executive director says it is safe to donate during this time.
As far as we know at this time, it is completely heat inactivated. And so our pasteurization process is safe. The donation process is safe, and that's really important. And we really want to continue to protect the milk supply because just like every other type of tissue donation, it is really life-saving. And for those infants without access and with critical medical needs, the donor milk is not just nutrition, it's actually medicine.
Healthy mothers are encouraged to donate to the Milk Bank. The Milk Bank can ship materials and supplies if donor mothers are unable to bring milk to a depot. For more information on how to become a donor and to learn more about the Milk Bank, check out this story on theindychannel.com. Todd.
And Nicole, it's a cold start to our day here across central Indiana. That's probably the biggest weather headline for the day today. But we really just have to get through the first couple hours here this morning, and then things will start to get a lot better temperature-wise. So we're still sitting right around the freezing mark through 8 a.m. But once the sun comes up, that's when we are going to see plenty of sunshine in this forecast. But with this freeze warning in effect, it's definitely a frosty start to our day. If you left your car outside, it's likely going to be needed to be defrosted before you have to get going. As far as high temperatures today, we should get up back to right around 50 degrees with a little bit of a breeze throughout the afternoon hours in Indianapolis, 52 in Bloomington, upper 40s to the north. All these temperatures running just about 10 degrees below where we should be for this time of year. We do have some slightly warmer weather heading our way for the weekend. We'll talk more about that coming up when Good Morning Indiana continues.
Tom, thank you. After being taken to the ICU, the British Prime Minister is making progress in his fight against COVID-19. Coming up, the latest on Boris Johnson's road to recovery. With coronavirus restrictions, Easter services will be very different this year. Still ahead on Good Morning Indiana, how some churches are adapting their celebrations and why others are defying orders.
About 2020 tonight on ABC.
British Prime Minister Boris Johnson has been moved out of the intensive care unit after complications connected to COVID-19. A Downing Street spokesman said that Johnson will continue to be closely monitored and that he is in extremely good spirits. The 55-year-old leader was taken to the hospital on Sunday because he was displaying symptoms of the virus. He had already tested positive for COVID-19 10 days earlier. Officials say Johnson did not require any invasive ventilation and is in the early stages of recovery. In Spain, leaders have announced they are extending their state of emergency for a second time. The country is one of the hardest hit during the coronavirus outbreak, with more than 15,000 deaths. The nation's parliament voted to extend emergency measures until April 26th. Spain's prime minister says that even though the nation has reached its peak in the pandemic, a step backward would, quote, be more than a setback. He also believes he will have to request another extension in a couple of weeks. Hospitals taking money from the stimulus package will not be allowed to send surprise medical bills to COVID patients. That's according to the White House. Surprise medical bills happen when an insured patient gets treatment from an out-of-network place or an out-of-network doctor helps with a procedure. The stimulus package included $100 billion for the healthcare system. Hospitals collecting that money will have to certify that a COVID patient won't be charged any more than they would have if the care was in network. Easter Sunday will be very different this year. Despite stay-at-home orders, some churches are planning traditional services, setting up a new legal battle this morning. ABC's Kimberly Brooks has the details.
This weekend, congregations ready to celebrate Easter will have to do the unthinkable, stay home. But to keep serving God and the parishioners, churches are resorting to unorthodox new methods, from drive-through confessionals to pastors across the country moving services online.
Just have to imagine that the people are out there, and so we do our best to just put forth the same service that we'd always do.
It's all to prevent the spread of COVID-19, but not every church is on board.
They're trying to take down our great nation by shutting the doors to the church, but we will not let them.
In Louisiana, a COVID-19 hotspot, Pastor Tony Spell says the right to assemble is God-given. And even though he's faced charges for defying orders, he continues to hold gatherings.
I'm more concerned with not having faith rather than fear.
And this morning, a new legal battle in Kansas pitting church versus state.
I am not trying to suppress religion. I'm just trying to save Kansans' lives.
This week, Governor Laura Kelly issued an executive order restricting the size of religious services. 3 of the state's largest virus outbreaks have been linked to church gatherings. But Republican lawmakers overturned that executive order, claiming it impedes on religious rights.
They just do not want the government to tell them that they can't participate in a religious function.
A shockingly irresponsible decision that will put every Kansas life at risk.
The governor now suing to uphold her executive order, taking the issue to the state Supreme Court.
Winter to early spring is notoriously known as cold and flu season, but there's a reason why viruses thrive in that type of weather. During this time, humidity and the temperature is lower, and scientists say the lack of water vapor in the air makes it easier for viruses to linger. That means particles from a cough, sneeze, or even from talking can remain long after the person they're from is gone. Scientists believe COVID-19 behaves in the same way. It should become more difficult to spread once the summer hits and more water vapor is in the air. Meteorologist Todd Clausen standing by. Todd, as you're heading out this morning, it feels more like winter than spring.
Yeah, you mentioned water vapor. Yeah, when there's warmer temperatures, the air can hold more moisture. That's why you get those humid days, obviously, in the summer. Today, though, there's hardly any moisture in the air. It is cold. There are freeze warnings posted all across central Indiana, and as a result, there could be some damage to some of the magnolia trees and some of the non-hardier flowers that have already come out across central Indiana this spring. 32 right now in Indianapolis, 34 in Bloomington, 32 in Tipton, Richmond, and Crawfordsville. You are down below freezing right now at 31 degrees. But here's the good news. While it is cold through about 8 a.m., as soon as the sun comes up, we'll start to moderate these temperatures pretty quickly throughout the day to highs right around 50 degrees later on this afternoon. Yesterday was extremely windy. Today, I wouldn't call it extremely windy or as bad as yesterday, but it's still going to be a little bit breezy throughout the day. So you'll have to contend with a breeze, and that's going to make those temperatures I just showed you feel actually a little bit cooler. So you definitely need to have the jacket handy if you're going to be out and about throughout the course of the day today. Skies are clear. That's one of the reasons why we're so cold. There's no clouds there to act as a blanket or insulation. So any heat that we had built up throughout the day yesterday just basically went poof up into the atmosphere. And as TrueCast shows you, there'll be a few clouds building in later on this afternoon, but that is just about it. Otherwise, it's a dry day for us from start to finish. Now, tomorrow morning, it's cold once again. Probably not quite as cold. The National Weather Service is going to replace the freeze warning that we have in place this morning to a frost advisory already once we get into tonight and into early tomorrow morning, so be aware of that. Here's your weekend forecast. Saturday's the better day simply because it's completely dry, partly sunny skies, high temperature of 58 degrees. Sunday's a little warmer at 60, which is seasonable, but we'll bring some scattered showers into the forecast as we get into the day on Sunday. In fact, some of the showers could sneak in here after sunset already on Saturday evening. So Sunday, not the best Easter. If you're doing an Easter egg hunt, maybe with your family in the backyard, probably the morning hours a little better. That's when the showers will be more scattered. I think they become a little more steady when the cold front comes through later in the day. And behind that cold front, you can see those temperatures once again as we work our way into Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday of next week. Nicole, we're talking about highs only in the 40s with low temperatures once again down near the freezing mark.
All right, Todd, thank you. Well, it can be tough to get a delivery window for groceries these days, so some people are luring shoppers by offering big tips. Instacart workers say users then lower or entirely remove that tip after their orders are delivered. Shoppers can see information like items requested, store location, and tip before accepting orders. Users can change the tip up to 3 days after the delivery is made. Instacart says it has removed the option to select no tip and that lowering the tips after delivery is rare. Still, some shoppers say they're now avoiding orders offering tips that seem too high. Universal Studios says it is going to keep its Orlando resort closed through at least the end of May because of the pandemic. That includes the hotels and City Walk. Universal says they're working hard to find solutions to sustain their business, so they're going to be paying some folks 80% of their pay. Part-time workers are also going to be furloughed, and the resort has been closed since March 14th. The pop culture phenomenon Tiger King is back with a brand new episode. Netflix is releasing an 8th episode this weekend titled The Tiger King and I. Comedian Joel McHale will serve as host. The after-show style episode will include interviews with some of your favorite characters from the show. The Tiger King and I will start streaming this Sunday, April 12th. During the pandemic, it can be hard for businesses to find ways to keep their employees on payroll. After the break, how a Georgia bar is using a fun tradition to help their workers out.
RTV6 app. RTV6 working for you.
Many small businesses are looking for ways to keep paying their employees. For one restaurant, it was found on the walls. The Tybee Island Sandbar in Georgia has been peeling off dollar bills from its restaurants to help. For years, as it has been a tradition for customers to staple the cash up there for decoration. As the business struggled because of the coronavirus outbreak, the owner decided to take them down one by one. After added donations, the employees were given about $600 each. Not the wall decorations, Todd. Taking them all down, huh?
Yeah, but hey, it's for a good cause. And you know what? When people go back to see that establishment, I bet you people will be posting them back up there on the walls and the ceilings pretty quickly. All right, take a look at your 7-day planning forecast. Today's a bright day for us. That's the good news. It's really cold right now, but we'll warm up to 50 degrees later on this afternoon for your high temperature, up to about 58 degrees with partly cloudy skies as we get into Saturday. Saturday's the better day of the weekend because on Easter Sunday, unfortunately, while it's warmer at 60 degrees, we'll bring scattered showers through the forecast off and on throughout much of the day. The time now is 5:27. Stay with Good Morning Indiana. We're back here in just a few minutes.
Today at 10 on RTV6. This is Good Morning Indiana, working for you.
Officer Leith was kind and loving as a mother of a young child herself. She's the daughter of a family that's been devoted to public safety.
Now at 5:30 on Good Morning Indiana, the Indianapolis community mourning the life of an IMPD officer killed in the line of duty. This morning, how the city is remembering the young officer who gave it all. And the coronavirus pandemic is taking a toll on some Hoosier businesses, but a new partnership is hoping to ease that burden. How we're working together with the Indy Chamber to help local businesses and how you can take part. Thanks for starting your morning with us here on Good Morning Indiana. I'm Nicole Griffin. Lauren Casey is off, but meteorologist Todd Klassen is standing by. Todd, it is chilly outside this morning.
Yeah, Nicole, that is the main weather headline here this morning. We have freeze warnings that are posted across most of central Indiana as temperatures have dipped down to freezing across almost the entire central Indiana area. Some of you just above freezing. I'll show you those temperatures in just a second. But what do you need to grab before you go? But as you walk out the door this morning, if you have to do so, it is the jacket. And I upped it to the medium weight jacket here. I probably could have went heavy jacket for at least a few hours this morning. But as we work our way into the afternoon hours, temperatures will moderate, and so that's why I went medium for you. And you'll need the sunglasses. That's the good news. It's a bright day for you. Here are those temperatures at freezing in Indy, 1 degree above in Peru at 33, 34 in Bloomington. There's the freeze warning that's in place for most of central Indiana, all the counties you see pictured in purple. The good news is with the sunshine today and just a little bit of a breeze, it's not quite as windy as it was yesterday. We will see those temperatures moderate pretty quickly. 41 degrees by 11 a.m., 43 by the noon hour, with high temperatures eventually this afternoon, Nicole, getting up to right around 50 degrees.
All right, Todd, thank you so much. We are keeping an eye on the roads for you as you head outside on this Friday morning. This is I-465 near Pendleton Pike. Just a few cars out on the road, so nothing to slow you down here in this area. Let's take another look up in Fishers now at I-69 and 106th Street. Traffic is picking up a little bit in this area, but if you head out the door, you can see no problems here.
In the middle of the holiest week of this year, Officer Leith made the ultimate sacrifice on behalf of her brothers and her sisters, and made the ultimate sacrifice for an ever grateful city.
An IMPD officer's life cut short after being shot and killed in the line of duty. 24-year-old Brianne Leith lost her life while responding to a domestic violence incident. Police say Officer Leith was shot while responding to an apartment on the east side on Edinburgh Square near 21st and Franklin around 2:45 yesterday afternoon. Investigators say Officer Leith and a woman inside that apartment were shot. The 24-year-old officer later died at the hospital. The other woman was taken to the hospital and at last check was stable. We're told a suspect is now in custody. Officer Brianne Leith served on the Indianapolis Metro Police Force for just 2.5 years. Our Alyssa Donovan is live this morning. Alyssa, Officer Leith had a long history of law enforcement in her family.
That's right, Nicole. You might say she was destined to be a police officer. Leith's mother was a 911 dispatcher, and her father works for the Marion County Sheriff's Department. Now, along with her Indianapolis Metro Police Department brothers and sisters, Leith also leaves behind a young son. IMPD Police Chief Randall Taylor described Leith as the type of officer you want on the force, strong and compassionate, a true leader who was well respected by her peers. Mayor Joe Hogsett asked the public to think of Leith as they lit the city blue last night for first responders. Speaking of Leith's courage and drive to serve the community.
Officer Leith turned toward the danger. She heard the call, and she went bravely toward that which could do her harm, because she knew if she didn't, harm may come to others.
The Fraternal Order of Police Critical Incident Response Team will be taking steps to honor Officer Leith and her family. Leith was an Indianapolis native, so she grew up wanting to serve the community that she was in for so long. She graduated from Southport High School, and Chief Randall Taylor said she always dreamed of being a police officer. Reporting live, Alyssa Donovan, RTV6.
Alyssa, thank you so much. Now to the very latest on the spread of COVID-19. We're getting the latest numbers from the state health department. As of this morning, there are 245 reported deaths from the coronavirus, and there are more than 6,300 positive results from those who have been tested. We expect the latest numbers from the health department at 10 o'clock this morning. We will post them on the RTV6 app and online as soon as we get them. RTV6's Hiring Hoosiers initiative is committed to helping you find jobs and resources, especially during the economic crisis caused by the pandemic. This week in Indiana, more than 133,000 people filed for unemployment, and that's put a strain on the Department of Workforce Development. Working for you, we wanted to find out how the process was going for those unemployed Hoosiers needing help. During the state's briefing, the Department of Workforce Development Commissioner acknowledged the agency has had some technical issues with the filing process.
We have had some complaints or some concerns about calls being transferred, and when they're transferred, they end up getting dropped. We're working with our IT team to make sure that that issue is being addressed.
The Department of Workforce Development says it's also setting up a website for those who are self-employed or independent contractors who are trying to apply for benefits available under the federal stimulus package. Right now, people trying to apply for those benefits are being automatically rejected by the state system. As the COVID-19 crisis continues to take its toll on businesses across the country and the state, one local company is working to keep their employees on the job, all while serving the community. Our Kelsey Anderson shows us how.
HVAC and plumbing are considered essential businesses right now. But for the folks at William Comfort Air and Mr. Plumber, they have stopped doing preventative maintenance, saying that's not essential right now. And they're hoping they can help stop the spread of COVID-19. But they still want their employees to get a full week's work, so they've come up with a new plan to help the community.
We don't want to be part of the problem with COVID-19 and the spread of it. We want to be part of the solution.
Matt Tyner is the director of marketing for Williams Comfort Air and Mr. Plumber. He tells me during this pandemic, they want to give back.
This is a time for us to stop just being HVAC technicians or plumbing technicians.
Tyner tells me because they have stopped doing non-essential appointments like preventative maintenance, tune-ups, and inspections, they need to find a way for their employees to still get a full week's work.
We'll do free grocery deliveries for anyone within our coverage area that is considered high risk.
He tells me they've also added doctors, nurses, and first responders to the list of people they'll deliver to. If you live in their service area and want to take advantage of their offer, all you have to do is call.
We just ask that people go place their order as normal on Kroger Click List, Meijer Curbside, Walmart, Target, place their online orders like usual. Write down the information, the confirmation number, and store location. Give our team a call.
Tyner says the only thing they ask is that the pickup time is set between 8 and 5, Monday through Friday.
We're here for whoever needs us.
Again, make sure you are writing down the confirmation number and the store location, so when you call Williams Comfort Air, they know where to be so they can help you in the best way they know how. Working for you, Kelsey Anderson, RTV6.
Kelsey, thank you. And we know times are tough right now for small businesses. You've seen our We're Open Indy campaign highlighting local businesses that continue to serve you during this pandemic. And so it made perfect sense for us to team up with the Indy Chamber for their Buy Indy campaign. RTV6's Lauren Casey shows us what Buy Indy is all about and how you can take part.
I think that the Hoosiers are strong, hospitable, and helping people by nature. And I think we're seeing that now more than ever, so we want to continue that momentum.
Josh Baker runs Hi-Fi Indy, a 400-capacity concert and special events venue nestled in the heart of Fountain Square.
Obviously, everyone's affected, everyone in different ways. You know, the music and events industry is one that is pretty hard hit.
With the necessary efforts to flatten the curve, industries like entertainment are being hit hard by COVID-19.
It impacts us, 2, 3, 4 months down the line just because of the routings of the tours and all the other logistics that go into that.
The Indianapolis region is home to just under 43,000 small businesses, and those businesses employ more than 500,000 people. So the Indy Chamber is launching a new campaign called Buy Indy, a huge push to support, engage, and promote our local small businesses.
Our hope is that, number one, people stay healthy and they slow the spread of the disease. And then second, they support their local businesses by buying Indy.
Joe Pellman with the Indy Chamber says with RTV6, the campaign will work to push out the stories and messages of these businesses to consumers in our community. And so here's what you, as a business owner, need to do.
Take out their smartphones, shoot a 30-second video, submit it to buyindy.org, and then we'll share that on our social channels.
As for us consumers, we have a role as well.
Every dollar really helps because we have none coming in. So that goes straight to most of our staff, keeping our employees employed and our lights on and rent paid.
Our dollars, whether it be your stimulus check or not, can help our neighbors like Hi-Fi Indy stay afloat.
So I think it's now even more important that if folks are going to give up their hard-earned discretionary dollars, that they think about where they're going to spend that money.
Working for you, Lauren Casey, RTV6.
Lauren, thank you. If you are a business and would like a promo kit or someone who is looking to support local businesses, just head to buyindy.org. Todd.
Yesterday, Nicole, those winds were really, really gusty, so it was really tough to be outside. Made those temperatures feel a lot colder. It's still going to be a little breezy here today as the wind gusts, instead of being up near 40 miles per hour like they were yesterday, today we're going to still be right around 25. So we'll call it breezy throughout the day today. And with those breezy conditions, temperatures will eventually get up to near 50 degrees. But it is really, really cold this morning with temperatures that are hovering right around freezing. That's why we have a freeze warning that's in effect. But overall, today is what we'll call a decent day. We're going to be 10 degrees below normal, but it's dry. Tomorrow's still dry for the most part, but then unfortunately, as we work our way into Sunday and Monday, we'll bring some rain showers back into the forecast. The time now is 5:42. This is Good Morning Indiana. You're watching right here on RTV6. Stay with us. We're back in just a few minutes.
Gum damage. Gum Detoxify from Crest.
Welcome back. Prosecutors are pushing back against an effort to dismiss charges against a dozen people in the college admissions scandal, including actress Lori Loughlin. Loughlin and her husband are facing charges for allegedly paying $500,000 to get their two daughters into college. Wednesday, federal prosecutors filed their response. In court documents, prosecutors explained why they were late disclosing some of their notes to defense attorneys. They also argued the delay did not harm the defense's case, pointing out that the trial is still months away. The trial is not slated to start until October. New this morning in the race for president, Joe Biden is revealing part of his economic plan. The former vice president laying out a proposal to forgive some student loan debt. The plan calls for forgiving all federal undergraduate student loans from 2- and 4-year public colleges and universities and any private historically black colleges and universities minority serving institutions. Biden also released plans to expand Medicaid eligibility by lowering the age to 60. The proposals mark an initial olive branch to supporters of Senator Bernie Sanders, some of whom have expressed skepticism at Biden's centrist brand of politics. A staggering number of Americans have lost their jobs due to the coronavirus. 6.6 million filing for unemployment last week alone, bringing the week's total to nearly 17 million. This comes as the federal government has already funneled trillions of dollars into the economy, but more help could be on the way. ABC's Anais de la Catera is in Washington with the latest.
This morning, scenes like these.
Certainly, it is a point that it is so needed that this many people did show up.
Becoming the new normal for towns and cities across the country.
I have never seen this.
From California.
It really helps a lot.
To Texas.
I am so thankful.
To New York.
I'm worried about food, putting food in my mouth.
So many Americans struggling to buy food and pay bills as applications for unemployment benefits jump by another 6.6 million, bringing the 3-week total to nearly 17 million. That's about 11% of the U.S. workforce.
We need more funding, and we need it fast.
President Trump now requesting another $250 billion to help small businesses, but Democrats blocking that measure. They're insisting on another $250 billion for hospitals and states.
This was, in fact, designed to fail, designed as a political stunt.
Meanwhile, new trouble with the first relief plan as Americans face delays getting their extra $600 per week in unemployment benefits.
How long it takes will vary by states. Some states' systems will take longer.
Many state websites crashing because of overwhelming demand. Overnight, President Trump promising more help for farmers, saying the government will use all the funds and authorities at its disposal to make sure our food supply is stable. And college students will also be getting some help. The Department of Education is releasing $6 billion in emergency grants to help students with their debt. And as for those direct relief payments, officials say the first checks are on track to be paid starting next week. Inez de la Quatera, ABC News, Washington.
All right, it's a chilly day here across central Indiana, and this morning there's freeze warnings that are posted across most of the area. That's because temperatures this morning have dipped down into the 30s. In fact, Indianapolis right now sitting at 32 degrees, right at the freezing mark. It's 33 in Greenfield, 35 in Bedford, and look at Crawfordsville. You're down to 30 degrees now. So as we work our way throughout the day, the good news is once the sun comes up, and we'll have a lot of sunshine, the skies are clear this morning, we'll see those temperatures warm very quickly. We're looking at about 42 degrees by the noon hour. Eventually, high temperatures today should top off right around the 50-degree mark with the sunshine. It's still a little breezy. We don't have those gusty winds like we had yesterday, but it's enough to probably make things a little uncomfortable if you're heading out for a walk or a run or a bike ride later on this afternoon or this evening. You know, some snow showers in Michigan. We will not get into those this evening or this afternoon, so that is the good news. We'll have a nice quiet weather pattern. It's just one of those where temperatures are going to be running below normal. Your evening planner sunset is at 8:19. We'll start off right around 50 degrees still at 7 p.m. then fall back down into the 40s. So keep that in mind if you're grilling out with the family in the backyard this evening. Once that sun sets, it will cool off very quickly, and by tomorrow morning it's very similar to today, probably a couple degrees warmer tomorrow morning. That's why instead of a freeze warning like we have right now, the National Weather Service is going to replace that with a frost advisory for the day tomorrow. Now, going forward in this forecast, tomorrow's the better day of the weekend simply because it's dry, at least until the very end of the day. The daytime hours will be dry with highs that'll be near 60 degrees. And then as we get into Easter Sunday, we'll bring some showers into the forecast, and it turns fairly wet later in the day. So the earlier the day for the Easter egg hunt with maybe your family in the backyard will be better. Otherwise, if it's later in the day, you may have to take it inside the house. It's warmer, though, with a high temperature that'll be right around 60 degrees. Here's a look at your 7-day planning forecast, and a couple things kind of jump out at you. It's a little warmer over the weekend, which we just talked about, but once that front goes through on Sunday evening, we get back into a very, very chilly weather pattern for much of next week with low temperatures that'll be down near the freezing mark, high temperatures that will only be in the 40s. Not only is it chilly, but we'll also have scattered showers in the forecast, and depending on the timing, once we get to Wednesday and Thursday, some of those showers around during the evening hours, we may even mix some snowflakes in there. Not looking at any accumulation, but here we are after what has been such a great start to the month of April with the warmth, all the spring flowers are out. We're definitely going to transition into more of a cooler weather pattern over the next 7 to 10 days. Nicole?
Todd, thank you so much. Let's take a live look outside on this Friday morning as you head out the door. This is our INDOT traffic camera at I-65 near 30th Street. Traffic is starting to pick up a little bit, but with so many people staying at home, it's not very busy. So if you're heading out the door, you shouldn't have any issues. If you are looking to buy a new home, you might have a hard time finding the perfect place. This morning, home site Zillow says new listings are down 27% compared to a year ago. Spring is usually prime season for home sales. Zillow says the drop is especially noticeable in cities hit hard by coronavirus. Microsoft is offering a much-needed benefit to employees dealing with extended school closures. Parents who work for the company can now get 3 months of paid parental leave, and it doesn't have to be taken as a single chunk. Workers can take it as a week or even a few days at a time. An estimated 1.6 billion students around the globe are home right now because their schools have closed due to the coronavirus outbreak. Many states, including Indiana, have already said schools will not open again until the next academic year. It's not clear how or if the benefit can be used by employees who do not have children. It's 5:53. Stay with us. Good morning, Indiana. We'll be right back.
RTV6, working for you.
I can imagine who did all this.
Hey, Lou did a lot of it.
Hey, Lou. I've got a lot of friends.
Oh my gosh, that's so cute. A parade of friends and family, dozens of cars deep, all there to celebrate a major milestone for Bill Rapp, the Army vet turning 100 this week. Mr. Rapp's loved ones gave him a social distancing party to remember. The parade was complete with a trooper escort, signs, balloons, and everyone who says Bill has made their lives a little more special. The World War II veteran still plays golf, swims, and drives himself to work every day. He says he's seen a lot of birthdays, but this one takes the cake. Rapp says he plans to have everyone over in a few months when they can have a proper party, and we always like to ask the secret to longevity. Bill says he doesn't actually have one, or he doesn't hate one. Sorry, Todd, I guess that's a good mantra to have. You don't hate anyone.
Right, exactly. I mean, you should never hate anybody anyway, so certainly a good mantra. You might not like the weather, though, this morning, especially after the warmer temperatures that we've had the past couple days, with the exception of yesterday, obviously, when we kind of transitioned. It is cold this morning. We are looking at temperatures with clear skies hovering right around the freezing mark. As we go throughout the day, we get back to about 50 degrees with plenty of sunshine, but it's still going to be a little breezy, so you definitely need to have the jacket handy from start to finish on this Friday. That's it for the 5 o'clock hour on Good Morning Indiana, but we're back at the top of the hour at 6 o'clock. Stay with us. We'll see you just then.